Hi guys, before going on to understand water, I thought I'll just introduce you to the equation which is going to be the basis of all calculations in this chapter, which is Ostwald's dilution law. Ostwald is considered the father of, one of the fathers of physical chemistry. He was a Nobel laureate in chemistry, and just to grab your attention, he had students who themselves were Nobel laureates, and you would be reading about them. You have already read about them. Arrhenius, Van 't Hoff, and Nernst. So he told us something, so it must be something important. Let's see what it is. He was working with Arrhenius and they were working on solutions and ionization of the solutions, and he figured out that the law of mass action, which is the rate law, it can be applied to ionic solutions also. So let's see. We have already done the law of mass action or the rate law in chemical equilibrium chapter. So if you haven't, you can refer to that. Say you have an ionic compound AB, it can be an acid, base, or a salt, and it is dissolved in water. Being a weak electrolyte, it forms an equilibrium with its ions, A plus aqueous, the water is carrying it, and B minus aqueous. So this water has, I'm not writing the water part over here. So this aqueous will take care of that. So say this is the chemical reaction which is happening. A has broken up, it has dissociated into A plus and A minus. So what would have been the K equilibrium according to what we were doing in the chemical equilibrium chapter? It would be, if it applies to this ionic solution also, which is what Ostwald said and Ostwald worked upon and proved. So that would be concentration of A multiplied with the concentration of B divided by concentration of AB, how much ever it remains after dissociation, and then concentration of water. So concentration means moles per unit volume. Obviously the law was for activity, and it can be, the activity can be thought of or can be equated to the concentrations, as has been told in the previous class, so I'm not going to tell that again. So that's your equilibrium constant. Now in this chapter, this equilibrium constant will have no meaning as such, because all the solutions we'll be talking of would be in water. So this guy, H2 concentration, can you figure out what can it mean, H2O concentration? Pardon me, H2O concentration. What would it mean? It means number of moles of H2O per liter of H2O. In 1 liter of H2O, how many moles of H2O is there? In almost all cases, we are talking about solutions which are not very concentrated. I'll be telling you why. I will be talking about the pH scale also. So the volume of the solution will be almost equal to the volume of water in it. So volume of water alone would be 1 liter. 1 liter here means volume of solution. Obviously, if I talk of concentration, it is number of moles divided by volume of solution. So volume of solution would be almost equal to the volume of water. It is a solution of what the compounds have been put in water, volume of water. So how many moles are there in 1 liter of water? In 1 liter of water, you would have 1000 divided by 18 moles, right? Because 1 liter of water, I hope you know, 1 liter of water is almost 1000 grams. In fact, pure water, 1 liter, almost 1000 grams. And 1 mole weighs almost 18 grams. 1 mole of water has a weight of 18 grams. So there would be 1000 by 18 number of moles. So that is the number of moles of water molecules in 1 liter of water or 1 liter of solution. So that is going to give you a value of around 55.5. That is the molarity of water alone. Now, if I talk of any solution, and the K equilibrium for it, you'll have this water in the denominator. This guy will always be coming in the denominator because all the solutions would be in water. And this number 55.5 is not going to change much. It is not going to change water dissociates. Let me just give you a small idea. I'll be talking about this later on also. Water dissociates to give around 10 power minus 7 molar H plus ions and equal number of OH minus ions. I'll be talking of this in a while. So 10 power minus 7 molar, meaning to say that out of 55 moles, you have 10 power minus 7 moles dissociated. So the water remaining, H2O remaining, would be 55.5 minus 10 power minus 7. Let me just write it in front of you, 4 zeros, 5 zeros, 6 zeros and a 1. So this calculation is not going to matter at all. So this dissociation of water is going to become even lesser if you have acidic or basic solution due to some reasons we are going to discuss later. So in any case, this calculation will be non-consequential, and hence, so all the time we'll have this 55.5 in the denominator. So this constant, if I multiply with that 55.5, so when I multiply this constant with that 55.5, it is going to give me another constant. And why not use that all the time instead of having this extra calculation of 55.5? So that new constant is called ionization constant. Constant of ionization or ionization constant. It's also called dissociation constant or constant of dissociation. Now this K will be followed by a subscript letter. So for this reaction, I'll just write it as R. If it is an acid, we'll write a Ka. If it is a base, we write a Kb. If it was some ion hydrolyzing with the water, we'll write Kh. So let me just put a R over here. So this is ionization constant, or you can leave it as K. Ionization constant is this guy. So as the law of mass action was, this K is going to be a constant, hence it is called a constant. It is going to be a constant for a particular temperature. You increase the number of ions of A, still it is going to be a constant. The rest of the ions will balance in such a way, the rest of the ion and the molecules are going to balance in such a way so that it still remains, this calculation remains as a constant. If I increase A, my B might go down, my AB may increase, so that the K value remains same. So that's your Ostwald's dilution law. Let me write some concentration of AB initially and introduce another term. So suppose we had C moles of AB mixed in a solution made up to 1 liter. So we would assume that the molarity of AB is C molar. That is how we'll report that the molarity is C molar. But the actual story will not be that. It won't remain C because it is going to dissociate. And a certain percentage of it dissociates. So suppose a fraction of it dissociates and that fraction is C alpha. So what will remain of AB is C minus C alpha, where alpha is a fraction between 0 and 1. It's a fraction of C, say 0.8, 0.9, 0.1, 0.05. So that much has dissociated. So if it has dissociated, how much of A plus and B minus is formed? It would be C alpha and C alpha. This alpha term is called degree of dissociation or degree of ionization. So if you have to write this term for this particular equation, if I have to write this in terms of C and alpha, what would we get? We'll get a C alpha multiplied with a C alpha for A plus concentration, C alpha for B minus concentration, divided by the concentration of AB remaining would be C1 minus alpha, and you'll get C alpha square upon 1 minus alpha. Anyways, this part we are going to do later. I just wanted to introduce the term degree of dissociation so that if I am using it while explaining water or something, you understand what it is meant. It means the percentage or the fraction of dissociation of the salt AB or the acid or the base, whatever it is. Now if you see the practicality of these things, your alpha, like Faraday was doing a lot of experiment figuring out what is the conductivity of a solution. So alpha is found out by measuring the conductivity of the solution, and this you will be doing in a later on chapter in electrolysis next year. So this is your molar I've written this so that you can imagine if you have ions, then only the current will be flowing. More is the number of ions, more will be the current. So by measuring current, you can guess how many ions are there. So this is the kind of ratio they use. This is the molar conductivity, meaning to say conductivity measured at a particular, for a particular concentration. And this is the limiting conductivity, the conductivity which is maximum, which is measured mostly when the solvent is super dilute. It is when the dilution is maximum, then your ionization would be maximum. So that gives you the limiting conductivity. Anyways, this part we are going to do next year. The thing is, your ion, your number of ions or the concentration of ion in the solution can be figured out by measuring the current it conducts. So most of the time when we are writing such an equation, we'll avoid writing your H2O and simply put an aqueous to this, meaning to say that it has been dissolved, because that H2O never figures in the dilution law equation. It doesn't figure over there. So just to avoid the confusion, you may avoid writing it. But for now, to make the concepts very clear, I'll be writing it. Let me write the law for an acid, for a weak acid. Suppose the acid is HA. So HA in water will dissociate to give H plus, which readily or quickly adheres to this water molecule, becomes H3O plus. This guy is called hydronium. So it becomes H3O plus, and the A minus ion is also getting dissociated from HA. So this is the chemical equation or reaction for a weak acid in water. So if I ask you to write the ionization constant, not the equilibrium constant, but the ionization constant. So ionization constant, I'll put a subscript A over here because it is for an acid, Ka. And when I've done that, it is not EQ. I'll not be writing this water. This water concentration I'll not be writing, because that has been engulfed or taken care of in this constant. The equilibrium constant times the water concentration, which is 55.5, is this. So we don't have to worry about that. So what remains is H3O plus concentration, which most of the time we'll be writing as H plus concentration just for the convenience of writing it, but none of the H plus ion is present independently. So this is what is your Ka value. So I hope you have understood. Similarly, we can write a Kb value. I'll be writing it later on, but I have written this for a certain reason, because when I'm going to discuss water, I'm going to touch upon these things. Or let me quickly write down a Kb value also. Say I take a weak base of the form BOH. It is dissolved in water, and what it releases is a B plus and the OH minus ion, which is hydrated with water. This also hydrated, by the way. So the water molecule is carrying on this. So your Kb value would be equal to B plus concentration, hydroxide concentration, divided by BOH concentration, and we would omit writing water as it is Kb and not K equilibrium. I hope you have understood the point. Now let me touch upon a very important point which is going to be handy throughout this chapter, is that the solution what we are talking about is having several ions. Not only these, not if I look at a certain equation, it is not just that equation. Like this equation itself, in this solution itself, what we have is a AB, we have H2O, we have A plus, we have B minus, and I have written an equation like this. Are other equations also in play? Yes, there are. This A plus can react with water, which is called hydrolyze with water, and what it can give is it can go and attach to the OH minus of the water and release the H plus. So H plus I will write for convenience, it is actually H3O. Let me write H3O, so I'll have to put two waters over here, I'm not balancing it, plus your AOH. That A is attached to the OH and the H plus has been released from this water. This equilibrium is also there. It will have its own K value. It will have its own ionization constant, and that constant is also going to hold parallelly. If this equation holds, the equation for this was written as K, like first equation, K, that's the ionization equation, is equal to A plus B minus divided by AB concentrations. This is a constant, it's not going to change. Now this A may be reacting further, and it is not like you got a A of C alpha amount from AB, it remains as C alpha. It may be something else. It may not be C alpha. It has reacted with water and it is going to give something else, and we'll have a K value for this equation, which would be equal to, say, K2 over here is H3O divided by A plus. We don't mention water, and this is also this equation is also going to hold true. Similarly, B minus would be doing its own reaction with water, so it is going to attach with the H plus of the water. So H plus B minus, so HB, and it is going to release the OH minus. This equilibrium is also going to hold. So you'll have all the equilibriums holding simultaneously. In fact, if A and B were cations and anions, then this would have been a salt and this would have dissociated almost fully. It's very small arrow backward, this would have dissociated almost fully, and this K value would have been a very large value. But I hope you're getting the point that all equilibriums in the solution simultaneously holds. Don't worry about these parts much, because the whole chapter is full of this, and we are going to get into this very, very, very easily and very gradually, so that you have confidence. I'm just giving you a glimpse of all this, what is going to come, so that you get used to these things. So what you have to understand over here is the larger picture, that AB is dissociating into the ions. The ions itself may be hydrolyzing with water and have its own equilibrium. Any equation written, any chemical reaction written can have, or it has, a ionization constant value associated with it. There's an ionization constant value associated with that, and that is equal to the product of the concentration of products divided by the product of concentration of the reactants. In all these cases, it is just one reactant, so that comes in the denominator. So that's your law, what you have to understand, and there are several laws or several equations holding true in a given solution is what you have to understand. I'll just make this picture a bit more clear by giving you an example of this acid itself. I'm going to touch upon another very important point, very, very important point. So just keep understanding and keep noting the main important points. What is here, we have not yet started with numericals. I'm not giving you any values. So the very important point is, this was an acid and we had written the Ka value for that. The Ka value was this equation. Now, we have already studied in Bronsted-Lowry acid and bases what happens. Each of the species are either acids or base. This is an acid. This must be a base. This is a conjugate acid for this base, because the base has caught a H plus and it has become this. So this has grabbed an H plus and has become this after grabbing a H plus. So this is the conjugate acid for this base. And let me just change the color. And this was the acid. It has lost the H plus, and that's your conjugate base. Now, if I want to know what is the Kb value for this conjugate base, bases have Kb value. So I have to write the Kb value. What is the basic equation I have to write? Please write it yourself. Okay, pause the video and write it yourself. It is quite important. If I have to get the Kb value, what chemical reaction I have to write? That's the first thing what you have to get in your head. What is a chemical reaction I have to write? If I have to get the Ka value for this Ha, what chemical reaction I wrote? I wrote Ha plus water. Ha plus water gives what? That is the equation I wrote, and hence I got the Ka value. So if you write the ionization constant for such an equation, you are going to get the Ka value for this case. Similarly, if I have to get the Kb value, what reaction I should write? I hope you have written the reaction. The reaction would be A minus. A minus is the base, has to react with water, and then whatever it does. If it reacts with water, what is going to happen? Water is a HOH. It's a H plus and a OH minus. So H plus is going to cling to A minus. Depending on what is strong, what is weak, how much it will cling, it all depends on the values. So H plus clings on A minus, becomes Ha. That's your Ha. Hence the equilibrium sign. Hence the equilibrium sign. It is backwards also. But this reaction is not a backward reaction. You see what happens next. So the H plus has gone over here. What remains of this is a OH minus. So you see a negative ion and an ion in water releases OH minus hydroxide from the water. Hence anions are basic. It is basic basically because it is giving you OH minus. So that's the equation. I hope you have no doubt in it. If you are going to write the K value for this equation, ionization constant value for this equation, that will become the Kb for A. So what will that be? What will that be? Your Kb for A minus. The Kb is going to be concentration of the products multiplied. So I have Ha, I have OH minus, divided by, do I write both of it? No, it is a B, Kb, it's not K equilibrium, so I don't write H2O, I'll write just A minus, and that's my Kb value. Is this equation, I can call it as equation number 2, is this reaction the opposite of this reaction? No, it isn't. It's not the exact opposite. So this Kb is not the exact opposite of Ka. It's not like Kb is 1 by Ka. It is not. Now we know it is not, but it is actually something. Let us just do what that thing is and conclude this part. I just want to start with water and then get into the chapter gradually. So your Ka, if I multiply it with Kb, mind you, this was a certain acid. I'm talking of Ka of Ha and Kb of A minus. So A minus was conjugate of Ha, or Ha is conjugate of A minus. Here you can see if Ha is the base, if A minus is the base, then Ha is the conjugate acid. So they are conjugates of each other. So we are talking about Ka and Kb of conjugates. So an acid into the K of the conjugate base, or a base into the K of the conjugate acid, gives us what? What does it give? Let's see what it gives. Ka into Kb. Ka was H3O into A minus divided by Ha, and Kb is Ha into OH minus divided by A minus. So you'll see that most of the terms are getting cancelled. Your Ha gets cancelled with Ha over here. Your A minus gets cancelled with A minus over here. And what remains is H3O plus and OH minus. H3O plus and OH minus. Now those who have no idea of this chapter, still this into this should ring a bell with respect to what we have been doing. If this is there, it can be termed something. It can be termed something. What is that? Can anybody guess? Take a second, pause and understand from which chemical equation or chemical reaction I can get such a product. So I'll give you a hint. It is ionization constant. It is linked to ionization constant of something. So it is not exactly ionization constant, but linked to ionization constant of something. Anybody? It is ionic product of something, in fact. Okay, so what is ionic product? Before I give it to you, if I say what is the ionic product of say, let me take a decent one, of HA dissolved in water. What is the ionic product? Ionic product is the product of the products, just this part. This part is called ionic product. Ionic product. Let me repeat over here. If you have a AB dissociating into A plus and B minus, then A plus times B minus is called something. And what is it called? This thing is called ionic product. Is it same as ionization constant or dissociation constant? No, it is not. We don't have a divided by AB over here. If I had a divided by AB, it would be that. So my hint to you is, this thing is an ionic product of something. Can you tell me what? I think you would have guessed. If I take water and dissociate, it gives me H plus, but we know that H plus doesn't exist. It will cling with the water. So I'll put two waters over here. It is going to cling with water and become H3O plus and OH minus. So if we talk about the ionic product of this reaction, is it not this into this? So it has been given a letter, it has been assigned this letter KW. If we write KW, it means ionic product of water. W means water. So your Ka into Kb is KW. And soon we are going to learn that KW, the ionic product of water, is a constant. We are going to discuss why. This into this is always a constant. So, which at 25 degrees Celsius is 10 power minus 14, which you have done, I think, in class 10 power minus 14 when you are doing your pH scale and also ionic product. Your concentration of this and this concentration is 10 power minus 7, this concentration is again 10 power minus 7. So it's a constant. So what we are deriving over here, what's the larger thing I'm trying to tell you over here? So what I'm trying to tell you over here is that if I know the Ka value of a certain acid, the Kb value of its conjugate can be figured out using the equation K into Kb will always be equal to Kw is nothing but 10 power minus 14 at 25 degrees Celsius. So if you know the Ka value of an acid, the conjugate bases Kb value can be figured out. And conversely, if you know the Kb value of a base, then Ka value of its conjugate can be figured out using this equation. Let's start with water now. Let's test your basic understanding of the math involved over here. I'll be giving you some questions and try to do it as soon as possible and answer it here itself. So the first question is, suppose I have a compound AB and it is dissociating in water. I'm not going to write water, I'm just going to write aqueous AB. And it was found that at equilibrium, somehow we could find it that we had 0.01 molar A plus. The concentration of A plus was 0.01 molar, of B minus was 0.01 molar, and of AB was 1 molar. What is the ionization constant for this reaction? Your ionization constant for this reaction. Yeah, get it fast. So I hope you got it. I hope you have written the law correctly. It is A plus concentration into B minus concentration divided by the AB concentration, and these were all given to you at equilibrium. At equilibrium, it was 0.01 into 0.01. See, straight away the molarity was given. If you were given the number of moles, you would rather divide with the total volume of the solution to get the molarity. So sometimes that is the catch in the question. So if it is number of moles given, don't forget to change it into molarity by dividing the volume of the solution. The volume will be same for all of these species. So A is floating all around in the same volume as B is floating around. It's not like A has taken a certain part of the volume and B has taken a certain part. That doesn't happen. Divided by 1. So what we get? We get a 10 power minus 2 into 10 power minus 2. It is going to give me a 10 power minus 4. So that's your K ionization constant for this reaction. My follow-up question for this is part A. Part B for the same question would be the same solution. In the same solution, the same compound, for the same compound, we have added a certain salt such that this A plus concentration has increased and it was definitely measured, and it was found that the A plus concentration has become 0.2 molar. The added salt did not have any AB in it, it did not have any B minus in it. So you have not added or subtracted a B minus or a AB. But the added salt, okay, let the added salt be AC or AX. This was added to the solution, which furnished A plus, and your A plus concentration increased. From here it became this is the new concentration. What is the new K value? That's the question. What is the new K value for this reaction? What is the new K value? So what is the K ionization constant for this reaction? Get your answer, pause the video. Okay, so how many did A plus concentration will be 0.02 into B minus concentration will be 0.01 divided by AB concentration is 1. Raise your hands. So how many did this? This is absolutely wrong. Your Kr value is going to remain same what Kr was. It is called ionization constant. Nobody said that the temperature is being changed or not, and no, in most of the cases temperature is not going to be changed, so that is not an issue at all in this chapter. So K value remains a constant. So answer again after addition also, your answer would be Kr is equal to 10 power minus 4. Once you have found that, that is the answer all the time for that compound. It's a constant value. So you have your Ka values of various acids listed in a table for a certain temperature. It is not going to change with addition or subtraction of other chemicals into the solution. So how is it that it remains same? How is it that it remains same? It is given that the A plus concentration became a 0.02, so we cannot define that. It became that. But then nobody is saying that B remained and AB remained the same amount. If this has increased, what is going to happen is your equilibrium is going to shift that way, which you have already done in La Chatelier's principle for gases and all. You have done it. So the same thing is going to happen over here. You have increased the concentration this side, so you have more B's, more chances of B's getting attached to A, bumping into and then forming AB than earlier, and your reaction is going to shift in the AB side. So what is going to happen is whatever amount of AX you put, maybe it was not 0.01 AX, it was a bit more than 0.01 AX. Don't worry about it, don't worry much. The basic point is your Kr remains constant. The math, I'm going a little fast over here because we'll be doing a lot of math later on. So the point of this question was you should not do this calculation. That's the only point. And what the rest, what I'm saying, if you get it, good for you. So AX being put must be a little greater than 0.01. So initially this might have become 0.02 something or 0.03, and the reaction shifts backwards and it reduces back to 0.02, which is given in the question that at equilibrium it is so much. B must have gone down because it would have reacted with the extra A, and B must have gone down and this would have increased. So B value will be something less than 0.01, God knows what. We might be calculating it in later questions, and this AB must be more than 1. So this guy is more than 1 and that is less than 0.01, and it is so delicately balanced. These are such values that this will come back, Kr value will come back as 10 power minus 4. So that's the point of calling it a constant. I hope people got it. I hope those who didn't get it, now you got it for sure. Let me ask you another question. Testing a similar concept, I'm just giving you a hint. Okay, there was a certain compound CD. I thought it was 1 molar because we dissolved 1 mole of it in 1 liter. But in an aqueous solution, it has dissociated. It has formed a C plus and D minus. And it is given that the degree of dissociation, the alpha, is 50%. So alpha is 0.5. Degree of dissociation is 0.5. Now the question is, the degree of dissociation is 0.5 when CD concentration was, I'll not put it like this because I'll write it in the right way, not the concentration. The molarity of CD was is equal to 1 molar. Now what do you mean by molarity of CD? It is as if we are thinking that nothing has dissociated and CD is intact and it is 1 molar in the solution. Okay, actual molarity in the solution would not be 1 molar. If you go to the previous frame, when I have written C amount dissociates and it becomes a C1 minus C minus C alpha or C1 minus alpha, then we are talking about this C, what we think is in the solution, but this is the actual amount of the solution. So I'm talking about C as the molarity. So it's been given that the molarity of CD is 1 molar, degree of dissociation is 0.5. If the molarity of CD, or you dissolved 2 moles of CD in 1 liter, if the molarity of CD was 2 molar, what would be the degree of dissociation? I hope you got the question. I'll repeat it. You don't have to rewind. I'll repeat it once again. If you still don't get it, then you rather rewind and listen to the question, because you are required to answer the question. When CD was 1 molar, the degree of dissociation was 0.5, and I have clarified enough that when I mean 1 molar, it means that intact amount is 1 molar. It would have dissociated and would have given C and C plus and D minus. Okay, so this is the actual situation initially. And the degree of dissociation is given as 0.5. That means 50% of CD is actually dissociated in the aqueous solution. The question is, if the molarity of CD is equal to 2 molar, suppose 1 more mole of CD has been put in the same solution, in the 1 liter solution, 1 more mole of CD as powdered form has been put without increasing the volume of the solution, the molarity becomes 2 molar, then what is the new degree of dissociation? Is it the same or what? So do it as fast as possible. So I hope you got what to do over here. In all these questions, what you have to do is first get hold of the K value, because that remains constant irrespective of the situation. So in the first situation, some information is given to you. Will you be able to calculate the K value? Will you be able to calculate the ionization constant? Yes, we can. It is 50% dissociated. So what will be formed is 0.5 molar C plus and 0.5 molar D minus. I'm not delving into this too much, how to write and all, because you have already done in chemical equilibrium. If you have not, you rather go back and do that a bit or try to understand over here. And here what will remain is, out of that 1 mole, 50% is dissociated. So 1 minus 0.5, it gives you a 0.5. If somebody asks you what is the total concentration of this solution at this moment, then mind you, it is 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5 of various species. It is a 1.5 molar solution right now, but we don't call it as 1.5 molar solution. We call it as 1 molar CD solution, 1 molar CD solution, which is a bit misleading, but that gives you, that is how you will make the solution. Nobody's calculating this and measuring the temperature and stuff like that. So it is actually a 1.5 molar concentrated solution of various species altogether, but it is called a 1 molar CD solution. CD is just 0.5 molar in the solution at this moment. Okay, so what will be the K value? Will we require it? For sure we will. You should just blindly find out the K value, the ionization constant, and that is a 0.5 into a 0.5, this guy into this guy divided by that guy, which is again a 0.5, easy peasy calculation, and you get a 0.5. There's no unit to it. If I have not mentioned it yet, there's no unit to it, because these are activities and not molarities as such. Okay, we have taken activities as almost equal to molarity, and hence we are doing this calculation. Already in chemical equilibrium I have told you the difference between activity and molarity. So this is actually having no units. So sometimes they say it is having variable units, molarity square, this and that. No, not at all, no units. These are all activities. Okay, so K is 0.5. Now the new situation is, you had CD and they are saying that CD is 2 molar. It will dissociate, and say the degree of dissociation is, say I have written alpha dash, which is a bit of a problem to write, so I'll write beta, 1 minus beta. So how much is formed? 2 beta and 2 beta. You can write it as 2 minus x and then x and x. Okay, you could have written it like, I'll write it over here, 2 minus x, x, x. That's the concentration. X is the new concentration of C plus and x is the new concentration of D minus, and CD is 2 minus x concentration. Ultimately beta is asked, so we might rather do it like this. Okay. So what is the K now? According to these concentration, the K value will be equal to 2 beta into 2 beta divided by 2, 1 minus beta will be equal to the K value, and K is already calculated as 0.5. Will that change? No, that won't change. It remains 0.5. So this is your calculation. You have one variable in this equation, so it can be found out. Unfortunately, it is a quadratic equation, so you'll have to do that, but shouldn't be a big deal. So what we get is, on cross multiplying, is 1 by 2 minus beta by 2 is equal to 2 beta square. So that is, let me just clear this part a bit. So that is going to give you, if I just cross multiply with 2 all over, it is going to give me 4 beta square and then a plus beta and a minus 1 is equal to 0. I'll straight away go for the formula. So beta is minus b, which is minus 1. Plus minus, I'll just write plus because minus and minus is going to give me a negative value, but beta has to be a value between 1 and 0. And before we do the calculation, can you tell me, will it be more than 0.5 or less than 0.5? What do you think it will be? I hope you guessed it right. The degree of dissociation should be less than 0.5. So what we are guessing is, we are going to get beta less than 0.5. Why? Because the concentration has increased. Dilute is the concentration, more dilute is the concentration, more is the degree of dissociation. More dense is the concentration, more concentrated it is, lesser is the degree of dissociation. There the ions get more chance of clinging on to each other if they are all crowded. So having that sense, if I do the calculation, if I get a value which is not in the slot, then my calculation is wrong, not my thinking. Okay, my calculation would be wrong, not my thinking. So what we get is b square. B square is the 1 square. So 1 minus 4ac. So 4 into 4, I'll write it as 16 divided by 2a. So that's 8. So if I take 16 plus 1, 17 under root roughly as 4 itself, and then 4 minus 1 is 3. So I'm getting a 3 by 8. Is 3 by 8 less than 0.5? Yes, it is. So my answer should be correct. I have self-checked my answer. It is very improbable that I get my answer in the right slot, but it is wrong. So it shouldn't be. So I hope you're understanding a bit of math. If you have any doubts, I would recommend watch this part again. Watch it very slowly. Try to do with your own hand. Don't try to follow, but try to apply and do yourself. And I'm pretty sure you'll get it. Some simple math. So let's get on with water now.